grilled at the spot. Like, you would walk away not feeling like you took the day away from your wife. It'd be a win-win.
Okay.
You could golf, she could do her thing, and you would have a great dinner that night.
Okay, Sean Payton Jr., you're redeeming your free credits for resort.
No, I'm not. I'm serious. I really enjoyed it. I would tell you if I enjoyed it. It's a little bougie at times because you got to wear a sport coat and stuff like that. That's not me, but it was really nice. It was.
Yeah. Keeps the riffraff out by making there be dress codes. I love
that. Correct.
Yes. He had a great weekend. Wayne, great dagger by you. Do you know what number dagger that is?
No. No idea.
I would love for somebody. I know. I would love for somebody with enough time on their hands during the holidays to go get a hard number on that. Obviously, we would have to go to games in which the Packers were up and up comfortably in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
You don't deliver daggers when it's a last-second field goal, right?
Not usually.
No, not usually.
More often
daggers
than not,
are for
in those circumstances.
Right. Daggers are for when a team is down and bleeding and is not quite finished off, and then there's one more score, touchdown, to finish them off. That's what a dagger is. And having called Packer games now for 26, this is your 26th season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. That's be easy to weed it out, basically going, well, here's the games they won. That cuts out, 40% of the games that didn't win, or maybe less than 40. And then just got to figure out which ones would have qualified.
Yeah.
So if anyone would like to be an unpaid intern on this project, for the dagger count, let us know.
The dagger count.
We have a lot of unpaid interns, by the way, or we're trying to recruit a lot of unpaid interns.
Yeah.
Well, they are our listeners. They're like Mike in Madison, Ohio. He's basically an unpaid intern, but that's a big project right there. The bottom line is we are left with nothing but nits to pick after the 38-10 win over the Niners, or what was left of the Niners, because there was so little that you could really quibble with in the game. And sports radio, as you know, Wayne, thrives on knowing the answers to problems. Whether we're right or wrong, we as hosts and as fans and callers know the answers to problems. When you don't have many big problems, there is a lack of traction in these things. But what did you love best about the win yesterday? Let's go at that angle. What'd you love the most?
I love the power running of Josh Jacobs. I love the quiet efficiency of Jordan Love. He did have a couple of turnover-worthy throws, but they weren't turnovers. And I really, when you looked at this thing in general, I thought they played solid on defense. I was a little worried at halftime. That last touchdown San Francisco scored, and that you knew they were going to get the ball to start the second half. A little bit concerned there. I thought that Brandon Allen, Kyle Shanahan came out, threw the football more earlier in the game than I thought he would. And I think he was doing that because he knew Matt LaFleur and company were preparing for a run game from San Francisco, and why not? But, Brandon Allen in the first half was very, very good. He had a 122 passer rating, 10 of 13, 94 yards at a touchdown, no interceptions. So, at halftime, there was a little bit of concern, but I thought in that third quarter, when they turned him away on that first drive of the second half, that was really where the game turned.
Wayne, when you look at this team, we talked about the signings of Jacobs and McKinney, and Zay asked a question earlier in the 6 o'clock hour. These are the best two free agent signings since, and I threw out the Smith brothers.
I said the best 1 year double purchase of players. Yeah. Best since who, Wayne?
Since the Smith brothers. Yeah, because you know what? They came in 2019 and fueled an improbable Packers run to the playoffs on the defensive side. They were great. And, again, Za'Darius didn't leave under the best of circumstances, but nonetheless, he was a very productive player here for 3 years. And Preston Smith has been here for, 5 years and just left a couple of weeks ago. But they were very productive free agent pickups. You don't hit on free agents like that very often. They also in that class got Adrian Amos, and the offensive lineman, who I can't think of, but he also played pretty well for the Packers.
Billy Turner.
Yes, Billy Turner. Played very well for the Packers. So that was an incredible class of free agents that immediately fueled the LaFleur tenure in Green Bay.
Yeah, that was good. Although I would say that McKinney and Jacobs greater sign even the Smith brothers. They're the best since, but this tandem has produced more bang for buck than even the Smith brothers.
Oh, I agree. I mean, when you look at both sides of the football, the Smith brothers were one side of the football. Now they needed it, but they were just one side of the football. But these guys, one on offense, one on defense, really have set the tone. I couldn't help, but I'm sure you guys were watching last night, that football game in L.A., Saquon Barkley doing what he did. And you sit there and you say to yourself, how in heaven's name can the New York Giants let, in one season, Xavier McKinney and Saquon Barkley leave the building? How can they do that?
How can the GM with Daniel Jones?
Sticking and now letting him Daniel Jones.
Yes. Joe Shane, their GM, he must have photos on somebody, because according to Mara, he's safe for next year, as is Dable. But now they're saying, well, I don't know. This team looks dead right now.
I was scrolling through Twitter real quick and it said they've been fired. And I said, oh, really? It's about time. Now, that was a fake thing that I saw.
Parody account,
but I'm like, how do they still have jobs? It's amazing.
It's incredible. Yeah. I understand if you're the Maras and the other people who own the team. I know you want to be stable or you want some stability here.
Yeah.
But come on. I mean, it's been a while now.
Yeah, it's been bad. So on the Jordan Love front, you said he put a couple balls in danger. Brady mentioned it in the broadcast as well. What do you think Love is doing when it comes to these passes this year that have been interception worthy? A number have resulted in big plays, like the one into triple coverage in LA that worked out. But what do you think is going on with him? Because ultimately the tide will turn and these will be big negative plays if he keeps throwing them there.
I think he has a lot of confidence in that arm and a lot of confidence.
Too much?
I don't know. Too much, maybe. But the other thing is he's still growing. This is only he's been a starter now for a year and a half. He is still growing. So he's learning each week. And that the second year, from what I've seen with quarterbacks, that can be sometimes problematic because now the defenses have had a chance to game plan for you over the course of an entire season. Now you're in your second year. They're showing you some different things you didn't see last year, that kind of thing. I think it's part of the maturation process. He has a lot of confidence in his arm. I don't think he's overconfident, but he has confidence in his arm and his ability. But he also is maybe, as he said, missing a few things here and there. He didn't see this, he didn't see the defender in the flat on one of those throws that was almost picked off, that kind of thing. So that's the kind of thing. I think it's just part of the process. But no turnovers the last 2 weeks. You got to like that.
When you look at this team in general, Wayne, they're still third in the division, which is crazy because they're playing great football. Is there still room for them to grow? Is there still room to get better? Are they trending the right direction? Because that ultimately, it doesn't. You got to just get in. And for me, I like a lot of the teams that have won the Super Bowl haven't had that first round bye, haven't been a second seed. So it's all about where you're training. I know people want to get wrapped up in, hey, they're third and they're still trailing Minnesota. They're still trailing the Lions. I don't really care about that. I care more that they're trending in the right direction. Are they showing you that they're trending in the right direction?
Yes, I believe they are trending in the right direction, and I believe there's a lot more to get for this team. And I think LaFleur would tell you that if he was on with you right now. There's a lot more to get. And the thing I like about it is, they've got 8 wins. They've got some tough games coming up. Miami's not going to be any kind of a pushover whatsoever. That's going to be a tough game. Then you go to Detroit. Detroit's far and away the best team in football. And then, you've the stretch run right down the end. I think this team has a lot more to get. I think the passing game has another level to hit. I really believe that. Defensively, I'd like to see them muster more on the pass rush, and I think they're going to have to down the stretch. But we've learned one thing. This defense is predicated on takeaways, okay? If they take the ball away, they're fine. If they don't take the ball away, as we saw over the last month or so, it's a little iffy.
Yeah, the Niners yesterday were terrible in so many regards. Takeaways, obviously, they got out takeawayed 3-0, didn't get any of their own, gave up 3. And the penalties, my God, the penalties on the Niners.
Yeah.
This would have, had to drive Kyle Shanahan around the bend. And I don't know what that's a product of. I'm sure they're scratching their heads there, but thank God that wasn't us, right, Wayne?
Yeah, and the Packers have struggled with penalties all season. Niners had 9 for 77, and the Packers had 5 for 45. That's another area they can clean up, the penalty situation. But I think the Packers, to get back to Butchie's point. They have room to grow, and I think they're heading in that direction. And this is what I like about late November. You're not a finished product. You're still evolving. And if you're still evolving in a positive trek, you have a shot in the playoffs. You have a shot.
Yeah, it's going to be a fascinating playoff situation for sure because there's a couple teams that have separated in both conferences. Maybe only one of the NFC. I think the Lions are the clear head and shoulders
Philadelphia's
best
right with
team.
them, Zabe.
Yeah,
Right
last night was impressive. Last night was impressive with Philly. I'll give you that.
Yeah,
but it's not like any of them are unbeatable, and we're gonna find out when it comes to Detroit here in about a couple of weeks. John and Rhinelander on the NicoletLaw.com talk and text line says, according to quick math and a lot of assumptions, I come up with probably 273 daggers for Wayne. Quick math and a lot of assumptions.
We did the quick math on Friday. I don't know if I want to rely on quick math. I mean, part of that was my error a couple Fridays ago with some quick math. The Packer-Bear games called. That didn't turn out real well for me. So
okay,
just throwing that out there.
That.
Just throwing that one out there.
Ken Miller via Facebook says, I want 200 more Wayne Dagger calls into the future. Well, from his lips to God's ears, right, Wayne? Let's hope that's the case, right?
Yes.
Okay. So anything else to add as we get ready? Short week, very short week against a Dolphin team that has played very well since Tua came back, winning 3 in a row.
Yeah, especially in offense. They're scoring 34 points a game, I think, in their last 3 games. That's going to be something they have to get a handle on. But I think also, defensively, Miami has struggled a little bit in that area. And that's where I think the Packers can maybe control this football game with their offense, with their running game, timely passing game, and, keep Tua and company off the field as much as possible. What helps here, guys, is the game is outside. It's on Lambeau Field. We're not talking about indoors on AstroTurf or whatever it is they call these field turf things now. But that's where the speed of the Dolphins would really be a factor. It's not that it won't be a speed at Lambeau Field on Thursday night. Speed will be a factor in that game, but maybe not as prevalent as it would be if we were in South Florida or on artificial surfaces.
Yeah. Just remember, the Dolphins last year went into Arrowhead for the playoffs and played in the coldest game in probably 20 years in the NFL, and they were not pushovers in that game. So they have some experience there. 2 years ago, they went into Buffalo, similar cold in the playoffs, and damn near knocked off the Bills. So I am not going to lean on this whole, they're from Miami, they're not going to be able to handle it. They're coming on Thursday, and they'll be ready.
Yep, absolutely.
And you'll be ready. You'll be bundled up there in the press box, right?
I'll tell you what, that wind was blowing in on us all day yesterday. It was 40-some degrees, and I'm telling you, now I would play golf in 40-some degree weather, okay? That's not
without
wind. Without wind. But when that breeze started blowing in there, and it was so damp, I'm telling you, it was cold. It was bone-chilling cold.
Just the way we want it. Wayne, is always a pleasure, my friend. Happy Thanksgiving.
Same to you,
guys. We will
guys.
talk to you next week, a week from today, since we're off on Friday.
All right. Sounds good, guys.
All right. Our conversation with Wayne Larrabee brought to you by Steam Fitters Local 601 and the National Mike Keller joins us now. He is back from Lambeau Field yesterday, where he was back from Lincoln, Nebraska on Saturday, and he was hell right about Indiana. Go ahead, Mike. Dunk on my buddy, Judge Massa, who doth protested too much when you said to us last week, Indiana isn't real.
Yeah, well, I don't want to. I want to be respectful to the
Do you
Robe.
still believe that, though?
More than ever.
Well, no,
I don't know if Heller believes that as much as.
No, I mean, and Indiana got a bunch of breaks from the SEC because Indiana right now is going to be in a playoff. They're just not going to play a home game because the SEC beat up on a lot of teams in the SEC screwed it up over the weekend, and I think Indiana is going to hang. Now,
you think they're in no matter what?
Well, I think they're going to be in one of the final. Well, they won't be 12 because the group of 5 gets the 12 spot.
So I think play Purdue.
I think they're going to be 11
in their
they're going to hammer
rivalry game.
Too bad
Purdue
for
Purdue is one of the worst teams.
They're going to crush Purdue. They're going to do what Ryan Day did at the end of the game. They're going to do that all day long to Purdue on Saturday. They're going to score even when they don't need to. Because Ryan Day was a jackwagon at the end of the Indiana game.
He was.
There's no way around it.
That might have pushed it over for some people, by the way.
All right, hold on a second. What happened at the end of the game?
Well, they break off. Henderson breaks off a long run and slides down inside of about a minute to play, slides down at the 1 yard line.
Okay.
Yes.
So they got one yard line. All you got to do is take a knee because your running back decided not to score.
Right.
And they pushed twice inside of minute 15?
Yes.
To add the last touchdown to the game. The players that played the over in the total score liked it because it changed that. It didn't change the spread. But the only thing I would say about I want to be respectful to the judge. So I don't want to say anything with too much certitude. I don't want to be too certitudinal in my response to the judge.
Wow, yes.
But they did not. Indiana is a really good team, but there is no way. I've seen the gap between what Ohio State is, what Penn State is, and what the rest of the league is, and Indiana ain't filling that gap. Not now, and I don't think at any point down the road. They have had one hell of a season. Yeah. I'm jealous of their season, but there was no way they were going to play Ohio State to a snug game.
Yeah.
And Ryan Day is a jackwagon. I've never rooted for Ohio State. I like to be right, but I don't root for Ohio State. I was rooting for Indiana. Dang. Yeah.
So is Ryan Day the most insufferable college coach that you see on the landscape? Is he worse than Harbaugh was when Harbaugh was at Michigan?
Shoot. Yeah, Harbaugh.
Really?
Me, yeah.
Why do you give Harbaugh a pass? Harbaugh is a cheater. He is a known cheat.
What were we asking? What was the question?
Who's worse?
How about Kenny Gillingham?
Forget who's the better coach and who wins more in the rivalry. Just insufferability. You're saying Ryan Day, greater sign Harbaugh.
Yeah, I think there's a pompousness that lives through Ryan Day. I mean, he exudes pomposity.
Because he doesn't have the cattle to back up his big hat. That's part of the problem.
Yeah.
If he had won more, you would accept some of his pomposity.
Well, and he didn't beat Harbaugh. I guess that was the deal. So everybody at Ohio State, all the boosters wrote bigger checks after last year and said, you got to beat Michigan. And then Harbaugh leaves. Because if you don't beat them after we write all of the big checks, you're going to go away.
Right. So let's I want to turn the attention to what happened on the field on Saturday. You were there. What did you see? How does this happen?
I don't know. Hunter Wohler is valuable to that defense, and that's part of what Jim Polzin was telling you. That this team has. Well, he had the concussion the week before at the end of the Oregon game, so he didn't
unavailable.
Yeah. So the last. I count them here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The last 6 Nebraska possessions go touchdown, field goal, touchdown, field goal, touchdown. That's how they end the game.
Is that good?
The problem for Wisconsin has been they have now in 2 years not handled adversity. when things have gone wrong, they have shrunk in the moment. And that's not a great sign. That's one of the things I would look at Luke Fickell and go, that is one tough-ass son of a gun as a coach, and his teams are going to reflect that.
And they're not.
And they haven't. That's, to me, the mystery, and it's something that they've got to resolve. And it was their entire focus in the offseason was we need to finish. We need to handle adversity. Yep. And they haven't finished. They haven't finished a dang thing. They had a 3-game run that they hammer Purdue, Rutgers, and Northwestern. A 3-game run against bottom feeders in the Big Ten that they fed off of. And outside of that, they have not had anything. And, you know, Jimmy was talking about the game against Minnesota coming up and that it could end the bowl streak. Don't be surprised if it doesn't end the bowl streak. 2 things. One, I think Wisconsin can win on Friday. And I shouldn't say that after watching what they did against Iowa and Nebraska. But I think they can win because I think Minnesota's beat up after playing a really tough game at home against Penn State. And the week after somebody plays Penn State, I think you feel it. And they're going to feel it on short rest. But number 2, I think Wisconsin could lose and still go to a bowl game.
Now, there's 77 teams that are bowl eligible. What bowl would they go to? Because I just saw
how many
this,
slots are there? 68? 68 slots?
Yeah.
How many bowls are there? 34?
Yeah, I don't remember.
Because I just saw this. The reason I said this, Mike, is because I saw a Northwestern post saying, we can't make it to a bowl even if they get to 5 wins.
Okay, so maybe that is the case. So I haven't looked.
I'm not 100% sure, but I saw that.
I know that one of the little whispers going around was that Detroit was still going to be in play.
Would take it, okay.
Detroit.
You were closer to everybody Saturday than I was.
The Motor City Bowl.
But I didn't. That was certainly pending results. If enough teams are eligible, then you don't go.
Yeah.
So I didn't dig into that yet.
There were 43 last year.
Jesus, God Almighty!
So, in addition to the
43.
college football playoff, though, there will be 36 bowl games.
Oh, so it's actually gone down.
So it's 72 and 12. It's 84 total teams that would play.
Well, no. It really hasn't gone down. Right. So yeah. All right. Well, suffice to say, just win the damn game for God's sake.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Fickell's not in trouble, is he?
No.
If they lose bad at home in the Axe game, is he in trouble? No, still not in trouble.
I think the staff is, you've already made the move with Phil Longo. You know how these things work when you're paying a head coach a gazillion dollars and you don't meet expectations. Other people have to lose their jobs. But
head coaches hate doing that, and
they
sometimes
do hate doing it. But it could come to that. That could be part of the conversation. They have had a heck of a recruiting cycle, but to Jim Polzine's point, that recruiting cycle of a year ago and the one that comes to fruition starting on December 4th with the national signing period underway in 2 weeks, those kids are going to be young. And next year's schedule, just think of this now. You go to Alabama, you go to Oregon, you go to Michigan, Ohio State comes here, and you play Indiana on next year's schedule. I haven't ever included Indiana when I'm talking about the difficulty of schedule.
Right. Yeah, they're going to get a chance to pack it up your tailpipe.
Coach.
Good, Mr. Mirage guy.
Yeah, it's not
next year.
It's got nothing to do with it.
I'm going to make sure Judge Massa comes up to the game and you guys can get a photograph.
I just want Judge Massa to admit that when Heller said that with certitude last week, he wasn't
There was
wrong.
a reason. There was a reason
wrong.
why there was certitude, because it was backed with decades of experience in the sports media world, and you understand how things work. And you were right. You saw through the hype and the gauze and the sizzle and everything else.
And they're still going to be in the college football playoff and watch them go win a game. And then the judge is going to get the hammer. The judge is going to bring the hammer.
This morning, when I said I didn't think Indiana should be in the playoff, Butchie took up arms like he was defending the honor of the Big Ten.
They should be in the playoffs. They have one loss.
I think they're weak sauce.
You play the schedule that's in front of you. You play the teams that are in front of you.
Right,
if
but you have a committee. You have a committee
teams,
but you have a committee to go. Yeah, you have a committee there to do one thing: find the best 12 teams.
So if you lose 3 times in the SEC, that matters.
Yes,
no,
there are 3 lost teams in the SEC.
You shouldn't lose to Oklahoma. You shouldn't.
Heller, help me out.
Butchie, I want to defend Indiana, but and they don't make the schedule other than the non-conference games. but there is not a quality win in their season. Not a single one with a number in front of the opposing team. And they've only played one team with the number in front of them. That was Ohio State. And you got beat by 3 touchdowns.
It was tied with a minute left. And then your punter can't catch the ball. And then you have a punt return
with a minute left in the first half. They don't play 28-minute games in college football. Butch.
Heller, I've been
can't
through
tell
this
me
this
that.
morning.
What I'm saying is it wasn't a 31-point game. You know that as much as I do. You just started. Heller, you just started this by saying, "Hey, Ohio State pushing it in. They're just throwing in the last minute."
Game. But in narrator,
you just started this.
How often does
but
the
in fact
scoreboard
it
lie?
Was.
Yeah. But
you just told me it lied. You just got on here at 8:20 and told me it lied.
No, I didn't.
You said Ryan Day's a prick for scoring on him.
Okay.
Well, he is a jackwagon.
Well,
but that doesn't mean
just
that
admitted it.
Come on now.
Normally, this is you and Zabe going after it. I don't need to be going after you, but come on.
You be that guy.
Be better.
Let me bring us together with something we can all rally around, which is watching Aaron Rodgers unravel in New York City.
No AA Ron, huh?
No AA Ron.
Well, you better be sick, dead, or mute, AA Ron. Here. Oh, man.
Yeah. So apparently Aaron Rodgers has been hiding multiple injuries, Heller. Not even letting the medical staff investigate the ailing hamstring, the tweaky ankle, the this or that, as if he's some great hero. Like, don't worry about me. I'm going to gut it out. And now, because the Giants decided to put Daniel Jones out on the curb, free couch, take me, please, Aaron Rodgers could be next. If the Jets do this, can you imagine a more inglorious ending to this whole adventure for a first ballot Hall of Famer?
No.
My God.
I cannot. But I can also say for people of a certain age, we've seen this story happen so many times. We've seen it happen with the likes of Joe Namath, with the likes of Johnny Unitas, with some of the great quarterbacks that have ever played the game, that it ends badly. We've seen it in other sports. We saw it with Willie Mays. Your greatness never beats time, and Tom Brady did it.
Brady was the one.
Brady was the one. Favre was the one until he wasn't. But he was 38 when he was at that high level, not 40, turning 41. It speaks to the dysfunction of the New York Jets. It absolutely speaks to the dysfunction of the New York Jets. But also, when Rodgers went down last year with the Achilles, I don't want to. You never know what's going to happen, but the theory would be you're going to come back from a ruptured Achilles at 40. Come on now. Come on now.
Yeah, I know. I just look at the whole thing as what keeps ringing in my head, boys, is do you remember Rodgers' little tweet storm the night before the opener when he said how happy he was, how things were just right in his life? He was so looking forward to this new chapter with the Jets. And now he's on the verge of being cut.
Then you got to play. Then you got to play the game.
Right, exactly. Then life happens, injuries happen, and everything else. But yeah, it's amazing. There's also this weird thing with Daniel Jones where he might be picked up this week by a team.
Yeah, that was a question in our pregame show is if Rodgers does get released, like who's going to dial the number? Like,
well, the team the Packers just beat was
San Francisco
mentioned.
Could
with the Bay Area ties. Yeah. Well, no, if Rodgers, in theory, if he were to be cut, could be picked up by the Niners.
Who's going to call Aaron?
Yeah, like a number of teams want Daniel Jones because as inadequate as he has proven to be, at least he is a guy that can function as a QB2.
Yeah.
And teams do need QB2s.
Right. But Rodgers isn't going to go to somebody who wants him as a QB2.
No.
And he can't go to a rebuild. So the only teams that get mentioned are San Francisco and Minnesota. He's not as good as Sam Darnold.
No. Where do you stand on Sam Darnold? Or where do you stand Monday?
Sam Darnold and the Minnesota Vikings have lost twice this year. They have 2 losses. You can win with him. You don't typically win because of him. And I don't know if you can win with. I think you can win with Aaron Rodgers, but you can no longer win because of him.
Okay.
I mean, they just have a dysfunctional team in New York, but I don't know where, if he wants to and he says he's going to play next year, I don't know for who.
Yeah. All right. Anything else to add on the way out the door? You'll have a full show today at noon. A lot to chew over, I'm sure, including the Packers win over the Niners.
Yeah, and they're in a perfect position at 8-3. They're exactly where you kind of hoped they would be. Nobody, when the season began, had the Packers better, I don't think, than 8-3 at this point. Now you got to go ahead and hold serve against Miami to get to 9-3, and then it begins. Then you play that game at Detroit. I mean, it truly begins.
You sure nobody had them at 8-3? There was no wild optimistic predictions of 8-3.
I'm sure that some people would have.
What did you have?
Anybody
Matt?
in our industry had them better than 8-3, I guess, is the point. That was the high water mark.
Why are we not keeping firm track, boys, of every host and every producer's preseason prediction?
We should.
So we need the official one, sealed and laminated, kept in a special.
We'll work on that for next year.
There'll be a next year thing.
Yeah, we'll work on it.
Butch is going to track it. He's got the accountant. He's got the accountant gene.
Yeah.
He played golf, Heller, in 40-degree weather.
Yeah, for free.
I did. I was willing to pay, by the way. I was fully anticipating paying.
I was jealous.
It was beautiful.
No photographic evidence of him playing, however.
I just
Indiana's good.
I played all 18 holes. It was beautiful, and we had the whole course to ourselves. I sat on many tee boxes and said, "Am I in heaven?" Because there is nobody here on this course, and it is amazing.
Are you in heaven? No, you're in West Virginia.
Yep.
Right. Not often is that said.
And there's a meth trailer down in the holler, so please don't go down there.
That stayed off. That's off property.
All right. All right. Very good. Heller will hear you today at noon. Thank you, my friend.